Hey guys, just wanted to drop you a quick note and a reminder. If you go to my website, Digging for End Time Truths, you will find a free download of my newest book, God's Time Capsule, and also New Testament Worship is on there for a free download. You will find that there's other articles on the website that will help us all in our spiritual growth so that we can all grow up together. And just a reminder to like, subscribe, share this as much as you can because we need to get the word out, and hopefully you'll be a part of that. So thank you all. Greetings. Welcome back to the Morning Breadcast. I am your host, Mark Grishik with Digging for End Time Truths. And we are on a quest this week to talk about fruits and nuts. And we have covered some interesting subjects so far. We have covered the battle that's going on in the inner man that's warring with the flesh and the spirit. And we've covered some of the fruits of what being in the flesh really is. And we today want to talk about how are we going to know if we are actually walking in the spirit? Is there a way? Is there evidence that shows us that we are actually following God? And can we tell by watching others if they are actually following the Spirit of God? So what we're going to cover today, we're going to go back to the book of Galatians. And we're going to go back to the 5th chapter where Paul is talking about this battle that's going on between the flesh and the spirit. And he told us yesterday, we covered what it looks like if somebody's just flat out nuts and just walking in the flesh, right? And there was a lot of interesting things that we covered there. And, you know, it's important that we understand that a lot of the things that we see out in the world are just evidence of walking in the flesh, right? Evidence of people that are not following the Spirit of the living God. Right? So today we're going to cover what does it look like when you actually are walking in the Spirit of God. And listen, no, I don't believe that there are people out there that do it every day without fail. But there are clear evidences of a way of life that is following the Spirit of God, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up in Galatians chapter 5 and verse 22, right? First of all, I want you to understand that if you are walking in the flesh, it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 8, that those who are in the flesh cannot please God. You just can't if you're walking in the flesh. You have to be following the Spirit of the living God because that's His Spirit, right? And we don't want to grieve the Spirit. But anyway, Galatians chapter 5, we're going to pick it up in verse 22, where it talks about the fruits that show forth if you actually are walking in the Spirit, right? It's the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, it says this, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Verse 23, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. So Paul gives us some clear fruits. Actually, there's 9 of them that come forth from your life, and understand that they're fruits. Fruits means the seed of the living God is planted in you. Has to be cultivated, has to be watered, has to be nurtured. Just like any plant, any fruit that comes forth has to come from cultivating it, cultivating a relationship, walking with the Spirit, right? That's how you get the fruits of the Spirit. Jesus said, His desire is that you bring forth fruit, right? Talking about living a godly life. So here, so he covers a lot of them: love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, right? And he says in verse 23 that against such there is no law. In other words, it's not a written rule. These things are not a written rule. They're it's the fruit that comes forth by following this Spirit on the inside, right? Verse 24 says, and those who are Christ's have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Verse 25 says, if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. And verse 26 says, let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. So Paul is telling us this is what walking in the fruits of the Spirit is. This is what walking by the Spirit will show you. These fruits will come forth, right? And he says, don't get conceited about it. And don't be provoking one another. Say, man, you ain't got it. Look at you. He's saying, Don't provoke one another. Don't be envying one another for having them. But if you're going to live in the Spirit, walk in the Spirit, right? So let's cover a couple of these real quick. Obviously, love, it's probably one of the most misconstrued words in the Bible. There's so many different kinds, but he's talking about that agape, selfless love. That, everything works by the love of God, right? Joy, peace. A lot of people say, joy. What do you mean joy? How am I going to live in joy? I mean, it's like I can't pay my rent. My kids are crazy. It's like, you want me to live in joy? If you have a eternal mindset and the Spirit of the living God is in you, regardless of what you're going through, there will be an inner joy that you live by. That peace, it's another fruit. There's an inner peace there. I just want to touch on some of these. Gentleness. It's a given, man. Just be kind to one another. Self-control. That is probably one of the biggest ones, because a lot of us talk about, I'm controlled by the Spirit. Oh, the Spirit made me do this. Listen, one of the fruits of the Spirit is being self-controlled. Your body says, I want to do this. And you say, no, we're not doing that, because you have self-control coming from the Spirit of the living God that is living within you. These things are fruits. You can witness them operating in people's lives and in your life and know that you are walking in the Spirit. But if you do notice these fruits, Paul says this, do not become conceited. Verse 26, let us not become conceited or provoking one another or envying one another. This guy's got the fruits and I don't think I got the fruits. He's saying, walk in the Spirit, live in the Spirit and walk in the Spirit. I want to leave you with that today. Listen, the fruits of the Spirit are going to come out in your life. Follow the living God, follow His Spirit, and you will see these fruits in your life. Amen. That's my nugget for today, and we will see you again next time on the Morning Breadcast.